As many of you know, when it comes to music, I love the first impression model, and we had an exquisite first entrance to Battle Beast, who, as I said, exists in a territory of approach on this channel that is a bit different from other recent appearances, in that usually as it pertains to European rock and metal talents, of which Battle Beast happens to be Finnish in origin, my point of approach will operate by either a collaborative association, so that maybe some artist that I know does a work with somebody else, that's the point of introduction, or through a recommendation that you've offered. And many of you have been so faithful in providing a generous supply so that I can further embolden my self-led journey into the European rock and metal foray and be constantly elated by every artist that I've humored at this point. It's been a good show. I've invested a number of hours publicly entertaining so many artists, and I've really come to enjoy the company of not only all of you. I've had so many great exchanges with those of you who share in musical interest with me, and that's not something I've oftentimes witnessed in my personal life, but music is a great fellowship experience and a community builder. I'm kind of reluctant to use that word, but I think it fits, just for lack of a better term. I appreciate the fellowship spirit of music, and many of you know I deeply revere it as an art form. It is a first love in my life. And the first introduction model I found deeply reverential, but as it pertains to Battle Beast, where did that come from? As I was saying, they are of independent stature in that I approach them in a very different respect, given they are going to be, and this is how I came to knowledge of them, other than the Nuclear Blast affiliation. I've looked at a couple of their groups at this point who, their offerings have offered a lot of strength. Battle Beast is no different, but as I said, point of exposure, the upcoming Camelot 2023 US tour, they're going to be in the lineup alongside Camelot featuring Melissa Bonney, favorite of mine, and Zondria. I've introduced myself to all three of the other entities, being Camelot, Melissa Bonney, and Zondria previously at this point. Battle Beast was the only missing piece, and if I am lucky enough to make it to the tour, it's looking unlikely. I'm not happy about that, but I'm really trying to get to Seattle in August for it. It'll be my first ever exposure to European talents live, and I'd love to be in the company of those who share my musical interest. Battle Beast is the missing piece. And I said prior to even thinking about the prospect of going there, let me humor them so that when I go in, I'm a fully informed listener. At the very least of what I humored a few of. I'll probably look at their back catalog and what predates the last album, No More Hollywood Endings. That I'm probably going to experience my own, but I've determined a good selection to spotlight with you so that I can have a good introduction. And I did say in the last video, I planned out about 8 pieces in total. Right, the first album I picked out 4 selections, and then this I had the idea of 4 as well. Going on 5, I decided to add this one in particular because it is an introductory piece, and the album's titling follows it directly. And I like what I've seen expressed in terms of philosophy of invention. I'm anticipating a bit of a mixture on delivery, intentionally on tone, and Battle Beast on my introduction has expressed that. A good reach. They're credited, at least from what I've seen again, of Finnish origin, with a heavy metal and power metal emphasis and also a hard rock vibe. The hard rock is quite dominant, and the power metal influence does intercede on some of the works, but the metal aspects are a little more subdued, at least on particular tracks. The openers on both No More Hollywood Endings and Eden were quite soft with a fun symphonic flair, and I love symphonic metal, anything orchestral, so automatically there's an association for me to feel welcome to Battle Beast in creativity. And then the next piece we humored, Endless Sun, was a bit more of like a retro American style tween teen summer pop throwback. It was kind of interesting. Pop rock. And then the last piece was much more heavy. So again, there's a bit of a diversity in application to what Battle Beast envisions in terms of track creation. I've seen that this album, at the very least on expression, states as much. I'm just going to pull the quote here on behalf of one of their members. So, again, direct quote here. We wanted to make an absorbing and interesting album, this is in reference to Circus of Doom, that includes both lighter party songs and heavier stuff as well. It's not a theme album in the traditional sense, but rather a versatile entity that sounds like Battle Beast, but with new flavors and twists. I like adventurism. But this group definitely has a bit of an expansion vision. And this piece, again, like I said, this wasn't of intention that I chose to spotlight Circus of Doom. This is a rather spontaneous inclusion, but I think it's necessary. I don't know, the implication going off of the rest of the quote, the album is named after its theatrical opening track, which you'll hear in a minute together for the first time, which is quite a massive song in many ways. It's groovy and catchy, filled with fascinating details, wild orchestrations, I like that implication, big emotions, and many stories. In that way, the song reflects the whole album, and we think it is an ideal title track. Like the song Circus of Doom, the whole album is filled with enchanting surprises and wild carnival atmosphere, like a joyful day at the circus. I've barely been to a circus in my life, so I can reflect at least a seldom spattering of entrances, which is like mostly from my youth, and I'm 25. That's digging back a little under 20 years, but still. Anyway, it'll be a fun approach, I'm sure. Circus of Doom is a creative name. I'm anticipating something a little more ominous in presence, but I like this pitch is quite effective in terms of engaging interest. So, I figured to be serviceable to the evolution of the album, let's humor the title track alongside the 4 other works. That's normally how I go by determining a selection of tracks to spotlight is all run by the visualizers, and 4 tracks received that. This is the only exception. But the name makes me curious. Let's engage together. And if you've never entertained Battle Beast before, maybe this is your first introduction, where I was, at the very least, a couple videos ago. Right? Let this be your path of initiation, and maybe if you've never ventured down the European metal and rock territory, I always state this could be your first footing into that scene, and once you step foot in, you will not want to leave. It's highly addicting. But if you admire good art like me, it's just you do not want to escape. I mean, I can't say it enough myself. The European metal scene is just so damn good on venturing. If you've never humored it before on Talent, I can't wait for you to take the ride for yourself. And it's still maybe early days for me in welcoming Battle Beast talents to the channel. I feel honored to recognize a group as talented as them, as I do all the artists I consult. But let's broaden out our reach together with Circus of Doom. I'm going to go ahead and cue up the song, and as always, lyrics are provided directly in the video feed if you want to read along with the narrative. And it sounds like, again, from that pitch, this is going to be quite an adventurous song that mandates that attention to detail. But let's humor this together. I'm excited to get an entrance point for myself. All right. Here we go. Together, our journey forward of Battle Beast in current standing. Okay, this fits the carnival energy. It's light, different. Ah, strong riff. I like that application. That's great on presence. Man, that is evoking a Dread Carnival mood. I love the ambition. This has got a nice flair to it. Real strength on basis of articulation. This is a funny number, admittedly. Perfectly evoking that mood in every respect. Even though you think of like carnival experiences with more foreboding senses for the album depicts, I'll get back to what I was saying in a minute. Nah, this is good. Nice linger. This fanfare design is such a cool innovation with the song. I like that linger. And the downward climb on the choir. This is so good. I mean, it's well organized, so it definitely follows a consistent pattern, but such drive to it. And Nura is it? I think it's Nura. Forgive me if I'm mispronouncing her name. Great vocalist on delivery. Oh, man. Great basses here. Oh, man. We're nearing the departure of the song already. Under a minute. It's a fun ride though. Man. Inventive on storytelling for sure. That is a dynamic number and such a beautiful fit with Vision. Deeply imaginative, you want to evoke a carnival mood. My word, that is direct. I mean, you don't even have to be of recent, appearance at a carnival to at least get that vibe. I mean, if you've seen it maybe in media portrayals or certain musical cues that might be attributed to that scene, whether you visited or not, I think anybody could sense what a carnival plays around like in terms of energy and crowd appeal. That piece, my word, the scope of it is so good in application. And what an album entrance as a launch. Beautiful percussion work and constant energetic feel. I mean, again, like I said, this is tipping more into a hard rock territory versus more of an intense. Well, I mean, it's got kind of a metal foundation, but this is definitely a little more one of their aggressive numbers, but especially on pacing. But it has an approachable softness I think gives it a little broader appeal. So for someone who might not necessarily, music is deeply preferential, right? There might be some of you who are like, I'm more of a rock person generally. I'm not as much of like a metal fan. I tend to be. I prefer harsh headbang type stuff. Just on preference, but I keep an open door generally, as many of you know. And sometimes I focus on other genre feels that deter from mainstay aggressive metal. But I appreciate it. And, I like some of the stuff off the hard rock route. There is a bit of an intersection of sorts, and I think this appeals kind of a middle ground space. But on individual storytelling, it's just so fun. I love the individuality of that number. And it feels intentionally campy, but it still takes itself seriously on mood. For, like they said, the Circus of Doom. If you're trying to evoke sort of like a horror-esque mode of, what you might see in like haunted carnival scenes, that kind of is evoked here. Even with the chaotic nature of the song, the ominous foreboding interlude, everything works. It's such a tight construction, and there is so much variety to it, like that article was saying. How many exhibits do you have? Like the animals, the lions, the music boxes, and just mixed again with such eloquent vocal delivery. The reach, the strain, I love hearing it. Again, I sense the passion. But the pre-chorus sections, the chorus, oh man, goodness, the reach. On Nura's vocal talent, she is delightful to humor. And I have said many times, I see exactly why, other than predated association between Camelot and I believe Nura to some regard. I think she was credited, at least on one of the biographies I saw, as ex-Camelot. I'm assuming maybe there's a vocal collaboration of sorts in past eras with other album productions. You consider the groups in lineup. Camelot and Xandria both have a real symphonic flair to them. This absolutely fits. A bit more energetic and lighter, not as dominantly symphonic, but there is that influence. It is more much so in the hard, it is much more so in the hard rock territory. It has that natural aggression, but there is a flair that puts it in general company with those other band entities. I want to go to that concert so badly. My word, I want to see this live. I'd love to see Battle Beast in full performance again alongside other talents. At this point, I've welcomed Camelot, Zandria, and Melissa Bonney as well for sure. But Battle Beast, what a pleasure to entertain, and a fun album interlude. We're going to entertain more together. I think actually in consideration, based on the track lineup of the songs that got visualizers, the first 5 pieces. So a little under the first half of the album together. I'm excited to continue this path. I'm glad I took acted on impulse. I just had a feeling based on that biography. I'm like, I should consider Circus of Doom, right? To see the album's evolution and growth from here. I'm glad I welcomed it. What a dynamic individual piece on Standing. Man on Energy, again, that carnival mood perfectly evoked. And balancing that with an ominous nature and brilliant vocal presence and a fun rock vibe and a bit of a campy flair. Everything here works. Sufficient ending, by the way. There's a cutoff instead of this long linger, right? It is what you might see typically in terms of the transferring element to get us out of the song. Instead, they end of a musical wrap-up, but a strong cutoff with Noura's voice. Interesting choices. Deeply creative work, though. Impassioned. I really like the energy of it. And I hope you did, too. It's a fun ride, for sure, in general. It's even better, humoring music in general company. I imagine maybe many of you who are accustomed to Battle Beast and maybe you humored this track before would agree. But I'd love to hear again from whatever individual perspective you take, whether you are a long-standing fan of theirs, or this may be a first entrance for you. What did you think of Circus of Doom? Let me know down below. I loved it. I'm excited to humor more. That is a beautiful album setter to launch us going forward. Great entrance piece. I cannot wait to hear more. Thank you so much for watching this video. Before you bounce, feel free to drop a like and comment, subscribe to this channel with a ding on the bell, and share this video with your friends. And consider checking out the description here. There you'll find links to my other channels, as well as addresses to my other social media accounts and ways you can help support my work if you feel so inclined. May God bless you, and looking forward to when our paths cross again.